Hello and welcome back to another episode of Father Love Movies. I'm Sean Faw, and today we're going to be talking about Nomadland. So I figured it was kind of appropriate to be, out on location, at least somewheres. This is kind of a weird one. Not necessarily a narrative story, more of like a character study, day in the life of sort of road trip movie. Stars Frances McDormand and a bunch of people that don't actually act, from my understanding. It's a bunch of people that are real transients that live this lifestyle and are mostly just telling their story. This is a story essentially about people that live on the road out of their vans and RVs and tents and things like that. But they're not necessarily homeless, and they certainly wouldn't consider themselves as such. Frances McDormand gives an excellent performance, but the rest of the cast are people that are living this lifestyle, and they are truly captivating and, kind of pure in their delivery of these stories. I have no idea where truth begins and fiction ends and where all of this stuff kind of meanders from narrative to documentary, but it all kind of seamlessly works together in a way that is engaging, in a way that is a compelling, I don't want to say story or narrative, but just film. Again, this is not going to be something that's for everyone. This is a very specific type of movie. In fact, it really specifically resonates with me because I spent some time in Alaska living on a boat in a very similar lifestyle. So I'm familiar with the idea of, buckets and fixing your own things and, not necessarily having the basics all the time. And this was a very true representation of that lifestyle, the type of people that engage in those things, the community that evolves around that. It's not necessarily looking down on them. It's fairly respectful and even reverent or celebratory at times. But it is a fairly honest look at the lives and the trials and tribulations of these people. This is kind of an interesting flick. It's somewhere between like a documentary and a narrative. The line between reality and kind of fiction is very blurry. I'm not sure which characters are real and which characters are fiction, but it's in a good way. This isn't a traditional story. There's not a big protagonist. There's not, a blow up fight with the boss at the next job she gets. In fact, there's like a lot missing from this movie, not in a bad way, but just kind of like they skip over the bullshit, Well, she goes from job to job essentially. So there is a moment where she's just now doing the next job, and there's no interview, there's no big bad manager, there's no big hullabaloo about it. She's just doing this job for a while, and then in the next scene she's not doing that job anymore and she's on to something else. Frances McDormand gives an excellent performance. She's great and quiet and revealing and a standout performance in and of itself, but she's not the standout performance of the movie. The other people, these real people telling what are seemingly their real stories, are what is, kind of really the heart of this movie. And it is a compelling story about these people making the choice to live like this. So visually, this movie is very reminiscent of Fargo, especially in the beginning. Not just because it's Frances McDormand walking through snow, but it had that sort of that tone and that pacing and that feel of it being, just that weird sort of not normal world, but normal for these people sort of setup. It's got a very documentary style to it visually, but it also has those very cinematic aspects to it of a narrative tale and bringing you into that narrative world of this character. So it definitely toes that line or hops across that line, whatever you want to call it, between reality and fiction, and it's amusing to watch. It's something that was fairly enjoyable. And it's a different type of movie than I'm at least used to seeing. It's something that is, very sort of quiet and somber and has a lot of we'll say context between the lines. There's a lot of things that you can read into it if you want to, or you can just sit back and watch pretty things. I wouldn't call it a crowd pleaser. It's not for everyone. It's certainly not a Michael Bay spinning and shiny things movie. It is a quiet, somber piece that asks you to fill in a lot of gaps. Then it kind of goes into this weird sort of pro-Amazon propaganda stuff, and I didn't really know what this movie was going into it, so that stuff kind of threw me. I thought it was going to end up being some sort of very much, hooray for Amazon thing, and in a sense it kind of is. It like does celebrate Amazon as being a weirdly high paying job that these people are very appreciative of. I don't know how real that is. I kind of have a problem, or have a hard time suspending my disbelief for that. But beyond that, it's certainly an enjoyable movie. I definitely have to give extra points to anything that features wall drug as prominently as it was in this movie. Definitely something that doesn't get on the radar as often as it should for as many signs as there are. Shit, anyone that's taking a road trip knows wall drug. So yeah, definitely check it out. As long as theaters are open, might as well give it a shot. And so thanks for joining us here on Follow the Love of Movies. This has been Nomadland, and yeah, check it out. Who knows how long theaters are going to be open, so, do what you can. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Let me know what movie I should see next. Later.